Not every origin begins with a gunshot in an alley or the bite of a radioactive spider. Some start quieter, with the question that burrows deep and refuses to leave. What if I could fix them? Harleen isn't the story of how Harley Quinn was created. It's the story of how Dr. Harleen Quinzel convinced herself that saving a man like the Joker was the same as saving herself. There's no dramatic explosion, no sudden collapse. Just a quiet, clinical unraveling, shaped by therapy sessions, sleepless nights, and small compromises that feel harmless until they're not. Published in 2019 under DC's Black Label imprint, Harleen was written and illustrated entirely by Stjepan. The series ran for 3 oversized issues and immediately stood out for its grounded, psychologically intimate take on one of DC's most misunderstood characters. By then, Harley Quinn had already become a pop culture juggernaut. Having originally crossed over to comics from the Batman animated series, she had moved on to headlining movies, her own animated series, and her own comics. But somewhere along the way, her origin got buried beneath the glitter and mallets. We remembered the jokes, the chaos, the breakup with the Joker, but we forgot the heartbreak. We forgot the loneliness. Šejić said he didn't just want to tell another villain origin story. He wanted to explore how someone trying to do good could fall anyway. For him, Harleen was about showing a smart, empathetic woman making one bad choice at a time. A story about codependency, self-deception, and how the wrong kind of love can take the wheel when no one's paying attention. By handling both the writing and the art, Šejić gave the book a rare kind of cohesion. Every page feels personal. Every panel is shaped by Harleen's memory, because this isn't the story as it happened. It's the story as she remembers it, as she needs to remember it. And that difference between truth and rationalization colors everything, because Harleen isn't just a confession, it's a warning about how love, when it goes unchecked, can become something else entirely. At its heart, Harleen isn't the story of how a woman falls in love with a villain. It's the story of how a brilliant, compassionate woman convinces herself that love is the cure, and loses everything because of it. The story doesn't begin in Arkham, it begins in doubt. Dr. Harleen Quinzel is already coming apart, long before she ever meets the Joker. Her research is floundering, her reputation is bruised, and she's haunted by a world that seems to be unraveling around her. She believes society is sick, that empathy is eroding, and that violent, antisocial behavior might not be the product of evil, but of empathy that has withered away and can't return. It's more than just a theory. It's a lifeline, a way to make sense of the pain she sees and the pain she feels. If she can prove it, maybe she can fix it. Maybe she can save someone before they fall too far. Because if she can't, what's the point of all this suffering? Then comes the moment that changes everything. Harleen's first encounter with the Joker doesn't take place in a padded cell or during a clinical interview. It happens out in the open, sudden and uninvited. After a night of drinking with a friend, she walks home alone through the dim back streets of Gotham. That's when the explosion hits. Flames crack through the night, and from the smoke, the Joker and his men emerge, like ghosts from a nightmare. He stops when he sees her, raises his gun, points it directly at her face, and in that moment, Harleen doesn't scream. Her life simply flashes before her eyes. Memories, regrets, unfinished thoughts. Then she closes them. She waits for the end, but it never comes. The Joker lowers the gun and simply walks away, leaving her unharmed, but not untouched. From that night on, he isn't just a criminal to her, he's a presence. A question she can't stop asking, a shadow that follows her into every dream. It's fear, yes, but also fascination, a sense that there's something more beneath the madness, that maybe he looked into her and saw something worth sparing. It's irrational, but it lingers. By the time she steps through the gates of Arkham, Harleen isn't some wide-eyed optimist chasing data. She's already looking for something. Not just answers, but validation. A reason to believe that her theory holds weight, that the pain she's endured, the doubts she carries, might actually lead to something meaningful. With funding from the Wayne Foundation, she begins her research, an ambitious study on the neurological decay of empathy in violent offenders. She throws herself into the work, interviewing inmates across the facility, filling notebooks with observations, trying to find a pattern in the madness. But one name keeps surfacing, one presence lingers in every file: the Joker. At first, she keeps her distance. There's too much baggage attached to him, too many unknowns. But curiosity doesn't fade, it festers. She watches his old therapy tapes first. Dozens of them. Interviews with former psychiatrists. Most are useless, just the Joker playing games, mocking the process, masking everything behind chaos and performance. But then she finds a recording labeled The Real Joker. It's not a therapy session, it's raw footage, shot outside a courthouse as he's being led in for sentencing. And for once, he isn't smiling, he isn't laughing, he's the true him. As someone calls him a monster, he responds back saying, "We're all monsters in a civilized cage. It just takes the right kind of pain and fear to break the lock." That's what hooks her. Not the theatrics, not the crimes, the idea. The possibility that someone like him might actually be able to explain the sickness she's been trying to diagnose. That there's a method behind the madness. A truth buried under the blood and chaos. And once she hears it, she can't stop thinking about him. Their sessions don't begin with breakthroughs, they begin with masks. The Joker plays the clown, Harleen plays the doctor. Each interaction is loaded with tension, performance, and silent calculation. He toys with her, and she pretends not to notice. But suddenly, something shifts. He starts mirroring her language, her research, her fears, reframing her theories in ways that feel profound. Not because he's honest, but because he knows exactly what she wants to hear. He doesn't manipulate her with violence, he does it through alignment. Quietly, precisely, he becomes the living proof of her work, the embodiment of what she believes can be saved. Harleen doesn't fall in love with the Joker, not exactly. She falls in love with the idea that she's the one who can save him, the one person who sees the pain beneath the madness. And in doing so, she stops seeing herself as a doctor losing objectivity and starts seeing herself as a savior finding purpose. Bit by bit, her boundaries dissolve. She stops sharing session tapes. She disconnects from her peers. She turns off the cameras and turns inward. And when colleagues warn her, when they tell her she's getting too close, she doesn't pull away. She doubles down, convinced that everyone else is too jaded, too broken to see what she sees. She tells herself she's not falling, she's reaching out. But the truth is, she's already gone. What once began as analysis turns into something intimate. Not sexual at first, but personal, emotional. He becomes her patient, then her project, and then something more. A shared secret. A fantasy, a hope. And eventually, it does become physical. Harleen sleeps with the Joker, convinced that her love, her belief in his potential is the key to his redemption. That she hasn't just found a subject, she's found a purpose. She truly believes she's saving him. But in reality, she's already being rewritten. Because the Joker doesn't just steal her objectivity, he steals her identity. And she doesn't even notice. Meanwhile, in the background, Gotham is unraveling. Harvey Dent's crusade for justice grows darker, more desperate. After surviving a brutal acid attack meant to silence him, something inside him fractures. He begins losing time, his thoughts twist, his ideals cradle. The man who once championed reason and reform starts speaking in doubles, arguing with himself. As Dent spirals into rage and paranoia, he becomes a distorted reflection of Harleen. Where she drowns in empathy, he drains it dry. Where she believes love can save the broken, he believes only punishment can bring peace. They're both trying to fix Gotham, and both are being destroyed by it. Then comes the breaking point. Now fully transformed into Two-Face, Dent launches a violent uprising against Arkham Asylum. With help from a rogue faction of GCPD officers known as the Executioners, he storms the facility and releases every inmate inside. His plan isn't subtle, it's scorched earth. Force Gotham to confront the sickness it tries to bury by unleashing every criminal into the city at once. He aims to prove that there is no cure for evil. During the chaos, Harleen races into the madness, not as a doctor, but as a desperate lover trying to save her Mr. J from a world that wants to tear them apart. She's nearly torn to pieces herself by Killer Croc before being rescued by Poison Ivy, who remembers the rare kindness Harleen showed her during their sessions. But Harleen doesn't run. She doesn't look for safety. She searches for the Joker, still clinging to the belief that together they can cure his madness. That if he just stays with her, he can be saved. That none of the destruction matters because love will redeem them. But instead, she finds Two-Face. Whatever trace of the good, principled Harvey Dent that once existed is long gone. He's already killed 2 guards in cold blood, and now he raises his gun and points it at Harleen. And for a moment, her fate hangs on the flip of a coin. But the Joker intervenes, saving her. He beats Dent nearly to death until Harleen throws herself between them, pleading for him to surrender, believing they can fix this together. That's when Mr. Bronson, an Arkham guard Harleen once considered a friend, arrives. He shoots the Joker and shoves Harleen aside, convinced she's helping him escape. He lowers his gun at the Joker's head, and that's when Harleen makes her most brutal decision. She picks up Dent's gun, and in a single moment that shatters everything she thought she was, she pulls the trigger. She kills Mr. Bronson in cold blood, and when the smoke clears, there's no going back. Harleen doesn't cry. She doesn't even really scream. She just stares in disbelief at what she's done, and laughs. Not from madness, but from the absurdity of it all, that both she and Harvey wanted to save Gotham in their own ways, and both became monsters, just like the Joker said they would. Their good intentions were nothing but a joke. She's crossed the line she swore she never would. And in that laughter, Harleen Quinzel dies. Only Harley Quinn remains. Because this isn't a story of a woman corrupted by a villain. It's the story of a woman who believes she could love a monster back into being a man. That her hope, her faith, her empathy would be enough. And it wasn't. Harleen isn't a story of redemption. It's a story about how the wrong kind of love doesn't fix you. It destroys you. In this story, Harleen Quinzel isn't just a tragic figure. She's a mirror held up to every time we've mistaken empathy for control, or love for salvation. She walks into Arkham believing she can fix people. That if she can understand their pain deeply enough, if she can just show compassion to someone the world has given up on, then maybe the world will start making sense again. But Harleen is a story about what happens when that belief turns inward. When you stop trying to understand someone else's trauma and start making it your responsibility to heal it. Her descent doesn't happen in one moment. There's no single seduction. It's slow, rational, even clinical. She's not lured in by the Joker's chaos. She's drawn in by his pain. She believes she can map his psyche, untangle it, save him. And more dangerously, she believes she's the only one who can. That's where the damage begins. Because the central conflict in this story isn't between Harley Quinn and the Joker. It's between Dr. Harleen Quinzel and the identity she spent her entire adult life trying to build. The doctor, the professional, the healer, and then a savior. That last one is the most dangerous lie she tells herself. The Joker never has to break her, he just has to step back and let her ideals do it for him. What makes the story so devastating isn't the violence, it's the inevitability. We don't watch Harleen go mad, we watch her talk herself into every boundary she crosses, turning red flags into excuses, turning manipulation into intimacy, turning ethical violations into acts of compassion. The Joker doesn't gaslight her, she builds the gaslight herself and then moves in. And what's haunting is how much of it comes from a place of sincerity. Harleen wants to help, she wants to believe in goodness, but her love becomes a theory she's too afraid to test. And when it finally shatters, it doesn't set her free, it redefines her. Because Harleen doesn't become Harley Quinn out of madness, she becomes her out of love. And love, twisted, idolized, obsessive love is what destroys her. Stjepan Šejić's work on Harleen is some of the best visual storytelling I've ever seen in a character-driven comic. Every page feels personal, focused, Like we're not just watching the story unfold, we're seeing it through Harleen's eyes. The art doesn't just show events, it shows what they meant to her. This is her memory, her confession, and that's what makes it so powerful. The Joker doesn't look like the rotting corpse we've seen in Arkham Asylum, or the strange man in The Killing Joke. Here he's clean cut, sharp, and almost magnetic. Because that's how she remembers him. Not as a monster, but as someone she believed she could reach. Someone who looked back at her like she mattered. There's a moment early in Harleen that quietly foreshadows everything to come. Harleen stands before a plate of glass with a blinding white clinical light shining through it, ready to begin her first session with the Joker. She's calm, composed, telling herself she can control the situation, but the panel tells a different story. Cast behind her on the wall is a shadow, not just of herself, but of the Joker too. Their silhouettes already nearly overlapping, as if fate had decided what she hasn't yet admitted. It's subtle, haunting, and incredibly effective. Šejić doesn't need to announce what's coming. He lets the visuals speak. Harleen believes she's stepping into clarity, into control, but what she's really walking into is darkness. And that's the power of Šejić's storytelling. He draws not just what's happening, but what's already breaking underneath. That lens shapes everything. Even her dreams start to shift. There's one unforgettable image where Harleen sees herself standing in a firestorm, cradling the Joker as blackened, twisted hands reach up to drag him back down. She's not frightened, she's rescuing him, pulling him out of the flames. Her expression is calm, almost sincere, because in her mind, this isn't a nightmare, it's a mission. A fantasy where she's the one strong enough to pull him free from the abyss. And it captures exactly how she sees their relationship. Not as a descent into madness, but as salvation through love. When they finally sleep together, Šejić doesn't make it feel graphic or shocking. He makes it feel intimate. There's a panel where she's smiling into his shoulder, thinking how she wants to heal his scars. And in that moment, it's clear. She doesn't think she's lost herself. She thinks she's helping him, that her love is working. Every detail in this book, every panel, every pose, every expression is built around one central truth. Harleen isn't about what actually happened, it's about what she believed was happening, and how love, when it's wrapped up in pain and obsession, can turn something horrific into something beautiful. Šejić doesn't just draw Harleen's fall, he makes you feel why she wanted to fall in the first place. Harleen is a tragedy, not because we don't see where it's going, but because she doesn't. It's a slow unraveling built on misplaced trust and the quiet thrill of being seen. Joker doesn't destroy her with cruelty, he does it with validation, with empathy, or at least the performance of it. He makes her feel understood, and from there, she does the rest. In this book, love isn't salvation. It's not the light in the dark. It's the spark that burns everything down. It erodes her judgment, blurs her boundaries, rewrites her identity, and when she finally breaks, it's not because the Joker lied, it's because she believed him. Fans connected with Harleen because it gave her depth without excuses. It didn't flatten her into a cliche, it let her be brilliant and flawed. It didn't just show her trauma, it showed how easily good intentions can become delusions, how empathy unchecked can be used against you. For me, Harleen stuck because it didn't try to redeem her. It didn't need to. It just told the truth about how someone can break slowly, honestly, and with the best of intentions. Because this really isn't a villain origin story. It's the story of a woman who wanted to do good, who wanted to help, who wanted to love and be loved. But that love didn't lift her up. It pulled her under, because sometimes the scariest transformations don't come from madness or monsters. They come from love. Not the kind that heals, but the kind that hurts, that tells you your suffering means something, that your pain has a purpose, that if you just give enough, bleed enough, believe hard enough, you'll fix what's broken. But you don't, because that's how love destroys you, quietly and completely. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like, and if you want to see more content like this, then hit the subscribe button as well. And let me know what you think of Harleen as a story, and of Harley Quinn in general. I personally felt she got too overexposed during the time when Suicide Squad came out. But this story made me care more about the character in ways others hadn't, with its thoughtful retelling of her origin. I'm very curious to know your thoughts on the character. But remember, whether it's a single issue or a trade, there's always another page to turn. Keep reading, and I'll see you next time.